You're watching the KIRO News Network on Channel 7.
Good evening. Topping our news tonight, a bizarre murder mystery that continues to unfold at this hour. 2 people are dead in South Seattle. The suspect in their murder is missing and possibly drowned in Seattle's Ship Canal. Now, this mystery started around 7 tonight in a warehouse just south of the Kingdome. That's where Seattle police found 2 bodies and clues that took them to an abandoned car on the Ship Canal Bridge. Wayne Garcia has been working this story all night, and he's live at the murder scene right now. Wayne?
Gary, you said this was a bizarre story, and consider this. In the span of about 2 hours, police first of all had 2 murder victims on their hands. Then they had to begin a land search for the suspect, then a water search for the suspect because that suspect may have jumped off a bridge.
President Clinton is addressing the deadly E. coli bacteria outbreak we're dealing with here in the Northwest. He discussed it at his town meeting in Michigan tonight, and earlier in the day, he called Mary Bridge Hospital in Tacoma to talk with some of the victims of the bacterial poisoning.
I'm going to come visit Harry Wampler more often. Every time I come in here, the forecast gets better and better.
Well, that's your presence. It has that effect on people and on forecasts
well,
both.
Thanks for the compliments, sir.
Well, it's my pleasure.
We have to get you through tonight and tomorrow, and then we'll be okay.
Tonight and tomorrow really shouldn't be a big problem, but let's talk about that further. Let's get our graphic up there showing our 11 o'clock temperatures, because that's a good place to start. Mostly cloudy currently. Temperature is 46 degrees, the humidity at 58%, the wind is light and from the east, and the pressure, well, with a storm in view, it's falling at 29.98. And the satellite shot, which has that wonderful loop. I love these loops. I mean, there's something I think about Benjamin Franklin, you know, was one of our early great weather people in this country, and I can't imagine what he might have thought if he could have seen something like this. Well, it's rather astounding, but we get kind of blasé about these things. But this is moving into the south of us and really not going to do too much to the weather here in the northwest, down to about 4,000 feet. Now, on the lowlands of western Washington, cloudy skies, and I'm saying rain late. Well, since it's about nearly 11:30 at night, it hasn't got much more time for it to come in before it's tomorrow's rain, and I think most of it is indeed going to be after midnight. The lows upper 30s to mid-40s. Let's go to tomorrow because it's going to be a pretty decent day. There will be some light rain, occasional light rain, mild between about 50 and 55 degrees, and the wind's variable 5 to 15 miles per hour. 5 days ahead, and this is what I was talking about with Narissa earlier. It looks like a very nice weekend coming up. I think we have a chance, Narissa, of seeing a high temperature on Sunday, probably around the 60-degree mark.
It was fight night on the hardwood, the fight for #1, and a fighter's joke. Just some of the stories making sports tonight. We begin talking about his airness, Michael Jordan, and how he and Indiana's Reggie Miller didn't quite see eye to eye. Frankly, the two wanted to tear each other's heads off. You see them going at it here. Both guys did their best impressions of Muhammad Ali by taking swings at one another. Tonight, the sport of boxing always seems to bring out the best in people, and WBC champion Lennox Lewis is no different. Today in New York, Lewis held a press conference. He thinks Riddick Bowe's a chicken, so what does he do? Hires a guy to come in a chicken suit to make fun of Riddick Bowe. Well, there you go, Gary. Always in boxing, you can expect the unexpected.
Okay, and don't tell me Michael Jordan didn't start that fight. Very quickly, for a look ahead of what's going to be making news tomorrow, let's check in with KIRO News Radio's Bill Gallant.
Hi, Gary. Just a couple of the stories that we'll be covering for you in the next 24 hours on this side of the newsroom. Planned Parenthood is about to begin what may be considered a controversial program. They call it a Valentine's Day gift. Actually, what it is a condom giveaway program. That's right. You show up at any of their 11 locations around the Puget Sound area, condoms for free. Now, this is in conjunction with National Condom Week. That's right, it's National Condom Week. It's official. We're going to find out how that got started. And Robert F. Kennedy, does that name sound familiar? Well, his son, Robert F. Kennedy Jr., will be in Seattle tomorrow. He'll be speaking at Pacific Lutheran University on environmental issues. What we want to find out is, are people really concerned about doing something about the environment, or do they just like to talk about it? We'll find out. Hope you'll join us on this side of the newsroom, KIRO News Radio 710.
All right, Bill, thanks. You will not want to miss the news from the satellite tonight. The Great Panty Caper next. And here are tonight's winning lottery numbers.
Our satellites are buzzing tonight with all kinds of news and pictures.
And first we tune into Syracuse, New York, where the panty bandit has been caught. A home video camera recorded all of the action during this criminal panty raid. The man involved has been stealing women's underwear and nightgowns for more than 2 years in Syracuse. He broke into more than a dozen homes but got caught when one angry couple rigged a surveillance camera in their bedroom. I mean, you know, once you've lived in a Gucci, it's hard to go back to living outside.
It is. It certainly is. That's KIRO News at 11 for tonight. Thanks so much for looking in.
You bet. Thanks for joining us. Next news, first in the morning news, starting at 5 a.m. See you later.
Bye-bye.
Aerobic guru Richard Simmons today at noon.
You're watching the KIRO News Network, the combined power of KIRO AM, FM, and TV.
Good morning, KIRO News Time 5:59. I'm Brian Wood.
And I'm Karen Schummel. Coming up on First in the Morning News, a devastating fire leaves 4 families without a home. And a plan for displacing the already homeless lacks apparent direction. Plus, a look ahead at the President's Day as he faces a taxing showdown with Congress.
Another chilly morning as you head out. Nick Walker is watching the weather for us. Nick?
Lows overnight below freezing, so that's why we'll continue to get our wintry weather all the way through the weekend. Joe Block, how's traffic?
Well, it's starting to get heavier now as people try to head out the door and get to the freeway system. Looking at southbound I-5 at the Kingston-Snohomish County line, starting to see a few brake lights there, although it's still pretty moderate in volume all the way into downtown Seattle. South of Seattle, though, is where we have one problem. Northbound I-5, as you slide down the South Center Hill and approach the 405 and 518 interchange, there's a problem on one of the exits there, and traffic is backing up onto a freeway, and so that is a little unusually heavy there. Starting to see a little more crowding northbound up the Valley Freeway out of Auburn, but no major hassles yet, and it's getting heavier now traveling southbound 405 coming down from Totem Lake past about 124th, and then the speeds will pick up for you there. So that's the only snags that we have found so far this morning. Still no reason to think about alternate routes.
One advice, wear your gloves this morning. That
Chilly,
really
isn't
helped.
it?
It's really cold.
Yes.
Well, still ahead, the time for planning your vacation is coming sooner than you think, so think warm weather. And Gary Christensen will explain in Your Money. Time now to take a look at some of the stories we are following this morning. President Clinton unveils specifics of his plan for reviving the economy. Attorneys in the Rodney King beating trial begin whittling down potential jurors, and much of America is bracing for a big chill. We'll have more on these stories in our next half hour. KIRO News Time 6:14. Time now to check in with Money Matters. Gary Christensen. Gary, good morning.
Good morning. Local business. One of the things we've found intriguing about our local financial corporations around here is the amount of money that's been able to be raised by these small, young biotechnology companies.
KIRO News Time 6:17. Some sports news now. Tom Glasgow taking us to the warm-ups in the boxing ring for Saturday's big bout in Mexico. And the Sonics seem to be on the comeback trail.
We begin with the Supersonics, who played host to the Washington Bullets at the Coliseum. 10 days ago, the Sonics clobbered the Bullets by 37. Last night, the difference was just 10. One of the most interesting aspects of last night's game was the play of the Sonics mascot, Squash. Looks to me on this dunk attempt as he makes contact with the rim right there with his head.
You're watching the KIRO News Network on Channel 7.
Good morning, KIRO News Time 6:30. I'm Karen Schummel.
And I'm Brian Wood. Coming up this morning on KIRO News, America braces for the official word, not whether taxes will go up, but how high. The Midwest braces against a winter whiteout and freezing temperatures. And jury selection continues in the Rodney King beating trial. We'll check in with Nick Walker about those cold, chilly temperatures out there, and Joel Block, see how our commute is doing. All that's still ahead. KIRO News Time, 6:30.
Today is the day President Clinton will come forward with details on who will face higher taxes and just how high those new taxes will go.
One of the other things I know that analysts take a look at that, the movies that come out late in the year, The Crying Game, for example,
Right.
garnered quite a few nominations.
I guess you have to, release it late so they remember. Otherwise,
Sure.
they forget at the beginning of the
Well,
year.
let's not forget the big advertising campaign.
That's right. And John Procaccino, of course, will tell you what he thinks about all this, and you know he has some real opinions. That's coming up at noon today.
And that's First in the Morning news for this day. Thanks very much for joining us.
And stay tuned for local news cut-ins during CBS This Morning. That's coming up next.
Have a good day, everybody.
Bye-bye.
The best director will probably go to Clint Eastwood for Unforgiven. He's been around Hollywood a long time, and they like honoring guys who have been able to survive. And also, he deserves it.
I was going to say, that's not just a sentimental deal.
No, he did a fabulous job. Unforgiven is going to be re-released now, so people who missed it the first time will get to see it again. And it's well worth seeing, and he should probably win it. There aren't going to be many surprises, I don't think.
I look forward to it, because I haven't seen it yet either. John, thanks.
You bet.
And we'll hold you to all your choices.
Okay.
Now let's go over the mountain and through the woods to Chef Jacques and Susan's house.
Yodeling-hee-hoo. Well, folks, how about discussing those Oscar picks over dinner tonight with Chef Jacques? He's got lasagna, and what a fabulous recipe it is, as always. Stay tuned.
If I'm depressed, I keep it to 5 minutes. I get all the depression out. I feel sorry for myself. I put on Valley of the Dolls. Gotta get off. And I get rid of it, and I go on. That's what people have to do. People have to let go of their past. Oh, good, she's laughing because, oh, she was so serious. It was really serious.
Well, we had a big
She's
story.
I know she's a very serious woman. She's a career woman. Great body, takes care of herself, exercises, eats right.
By the way, did you know that with wind chill, we're down around 5 degrees? You're liable to catch your death if you walk around like that much longer.
I exercised this morning, and when you do it in the morning, your body heat is good, and you can take this weather.
Richard Simmons' book, Never Give Up. Inspirations, reflections, and stories of hope, and quite angelic on the cover. You wouldn't know it by looking at him right here. Hey, always a pleasure to see you.
You take care of yourself.
Thanks for being here.
Everyone
Costco
stay
today
healthy.
at 4 o'clock at South Center. Susan,
Lisa, I love you.
He loves you, Lisa. Upstairs for our audio person, Lisa. Yes.
Ooh, I get to save that for my memory book, what Richard Simmons said. Well, Hollywood is buzzing this noon. The Oscar nominations are out. John Procaccino is buzzing as well. His picks on who the winners may be coming up next.
A lot of you have told me when you're watching the new KIRO News, you see this guy. Now, who is he? This is Bruce, one of the pros who runs our command center. And from here, Bruce keeps track of our news crews. He has a computerized street map of every city in America. He can monitor satellite feeds and take news tips from callers like you. Now, some have said they find it distracting, but we think it's worth it because having a command center here means you get the news as fast as we do. So keep watching, Bruce will keep working, and you let me know what you think. What does news outside the box mean? It means we're focusing on the stories, not who's sitting behind some desk. It means we've torn down the walls between anchors and reporters, between you and the news. So you may see Gary Justice reporting live from the scene of a breaking story, or one of our many reporters adding their perspective from here in the newsroom. News outside the box means all our people are now reporters, and that gives you more knowledgeable coverage and a better newscast. So keep watching us and let me know what you think.
We've all heard concern about the stability of downtown Seattle now that another major department store, iMagnin, is folding. But Seattle is not the only downtown area hit by hard times. Tacoma is also struggling.
We've all all heard dogs described as man's best friend. Few people would probably argue with that. But tonight, our health specialist Mickey Flowers joins us with the story of a dog who's not only a best friend, but very literally a lifeline for a local woman.
That'll do it for this edition of KIRO News at 5. Thanks for watching tonight.
Don't forget the CBS Evening News is next. Have a good evening.
So long.